Filmed by a Western journalist in 1936, these were the first images that the world had ever seen of a new armed force in China. This is the predecessor of the Chinese People's Liberation Army. This force was founded on August 1st, 1927. Before taking up weapons, most of its members had been peasants working the land. It was poor in equipment and minimal in supplies, but high in morale. When the video was taken, the famous Long March had just been completed. During 2 long years, this force fought an enemy 10 times the size of its own. It fought hundreds of battles, climbed over snow-capped mountains, went through marshlands, and survived large areas where there was almost no sign of life. At the most difficult times, the troops even lived on tree bark and grass roots. The difficulties and hardships they faced and endured were even greater and more formidable than those of expeditions of Hannibal or Napoleon. On July 7, 1937, the Japanese fascist forces launched a comprehensive invasion against China. The army went to the front to fight the Japanese forces and won a decisive victory in their first encounter at Pingxingguan, breaking a prevailing myth that the Japanese forces were invincible. Along with other anti-Japanese forces in China, a major theater to the global war on fascism, this force tied up more than 70% of Japan's total forces, wiped out over 1.5 million enemy troops, and strongly supported the anti-fascist struggle in the European and Pacific theaters. It also made a great contribution to the final victory over fascism worldwide. In China's war of liberation for peace and democracy, this force wiped out millions of enemies through a series of major campaigns, achieved victories in decisive battles of strategic importance, and liberated the homeland from enemy control, securing the founding of the People's Republic of China. In the 85 years since it came into being, the PLA has been fighting unswervingly for and giving all that it has to the people and the country, to its independence and prosperity. Once so small and weak, the PLA has endured much to grow into a modern military combining the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the 2nd Artillery Force. Whether in peace or war, serving the people has always been at the core of the PLA. The PLA is a strike force in rescue operations for major natural disasters, as China is a disaster-prone country. On May 12, 2008, a magnitude 8 earthquake ripped through Wenchuan, Sichuan. Many lives were in danger. 146,000 PLA men and women were immediately sent from around the country to the quake-stricken area for rescue and relief operations. What they had in hand were not weapons, but life-saving tools. They dug out trapped victims, provided first aid, relocated affected populations, restored transportation networks, and delivered relief materials. For those victims, when they saw the PLA, they saw courage and hope.
我相信你们会来救我，你们来救我，我很感谢你们。
The PLA is also responsible for safeguarding the people's peaceful labor and preventing terrorist attacks in a world increasingly challenged by non-traditional security threats. During the 29th Olympic Games in Beijing in August 2008, 40,000 PLA troops were assigned to security tasks to ensure the success of the Games. Over 600 years ago, the Chinese navigator Zheng He led his grand fleets full of porcelain and silk and made 7 successful voyages to the Indian Ocean, the Arabian Sea, and the Red Sea. Today, on April 16, 2012, Zheng He, a PLA naval ship named after the great navigator, embarked on another global voyage from Dalian Naval Port, bringing with it peace and friendship. The PLA is an active force in strengthening mutual trust and cooperation with other militaries, and carrying out joint trainings and exercises. Since 2002, the Chinese military has had more than 50 bilateral or multilateral joint trainings and exercises with SCO and ASEAN member militaries, and militaries from Pakistan, India, Australia, the US, and other countries. The PLA honors UN Security Council resolutions and actively participates in UN peacekeeping operations. Since 1990, the PLA has sent over 20,000 peacekeepers to 23 UN-mandated peacekeeping operations, among whom 9 made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. At present, over 1,800 Chinese peacekeepers are on missions in related UN task areas, making China the largest peacekeeping troop contributing country among the permanent members of the UN Security Council. In accordance with relevant UN resolutions, the PLA has sent 11 task forces for escort missions to the Gulf of Aden and Somalia waters. They have escorted more than 4,700 vessels, about half of which are foreign vessels. The PLA has also provided humanitarian assistance at the request of recipient countries. Since 2002, the Chinese military has offered 1 billion renminbi in relief materials to over 20 countries. It has sent helicopter teams or medical teams to Pakistan, Haiti, and other countries to provide assistance, and the PLA Navy Hospital ship, Ark of Peace, has sailed to Asia, African, and Latin American countries for medical assistance. In the wake of the massive earthquake in Japan in 2011, China's International Search and Rescue Team, consisting mainly of military personnel, immediately set out for the worst-hit areas for search and rescue in spite of radiation risks. Today's PLA is more open and transparent. It has set up a news release system, released defense white papers, and offered to share information on China's national defense and military development with the wider world. It opens its compounds and training fields to foreign military attachés and journalists, giving them face-to-face communication opportunities with PLA foot soldiers. In addition, China has been working to advance friendly exchange and communication and coordination with foreign militaries through ways such as mechanized defense consultations and security dialogues, exchanges of visits, and hosting international military forums. By doing so, it has also been fulfilling its responsibility in safeguarding world peace and regional stability, as well as promoting common development. In the early summer of 2011, cadets from different countries came together in the PLA University of Science and Technology, where they lived, studied, and trained together. These young uniformed men and women are embracing peace and tranquility and looking forward to an even more brilliant future.